Hello and welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I am your usual host, Andrew Stretch here.
Andrew Rutten, Editor-in-Chief.
And Samuel Guglielmo, Reviews Editor.
I don't even think you know how to say your last name. How'd you say it?
Guglielmo.
Yeah, Googly Elmo. We know this.
Yeah, Googly Elmo.
Listen, I accept all pronunciations except Guglielmo.
Well, unfortunately, that's the only way I know how to say it.
Unfortunately, that's the only one anyone can say.
Yeah.
So on today's episode, we will be talking about more Activision Blizzard news and the Raven Software Union, the announcement of Star Wars Fallen Survivor, and some more info on the PS Plus Classic emulations. So in a absolutely landmark for the gaming industry, the Raven Software Union vote was successful. That happened on the 23rd of May. And with that, that is the first major union in all of US video games.
Hooray!
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, on a list of things that don't suck, that gets to be on the list.
I mean, you'd hope it'd catch fire, kind of like, the stuff with Starbucks is happening, all around the country. They've got so many stores that are unionized now. Still a lot to go. And there's other stores that are starting to do it. Hopefully it would lead to more things happening at video game development companies also.
Yeah, I think that
I kind of wonder how many. So when I got a job back in high school at Target, the absolute hellhole that is Target, the first day of work, they sit you down and make you watch a bunch of anti-union videos, which are, of course, all filmed by unioned actors, but, and it's, like, the most depressing shit. Because they try really hard to make you think the union's bad, and they're like, I want to work over 40 hours a week, but a union might say I can't, and it's like, alright, that's weird. That kind of sounds nice, actually.
But also, a union may mean that you're getting paid a living wage so that you don't need to work 40 hours anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then they're like, what if I want to work in both the grocery and the electronics department? The union says I can't do that. And it's like, yeah, that sounds great, actually. I don't want to know both grocery and electronics.
Well, and what's great about, there's so much union misinformation out there, and it's been a campaign going on for decades and decades now. Like, a union is whatever you want it to be. There are no set rules for what a union is. It is literally what union members decide it is, and whoever they're negotiating a contract with, whatever that says, that's the rule. So there is nothing that's in all unions. Nobody has the same thing. You get to make up whatever the fuck you want. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So however it suits you guys best.
And hopefully it will suit the Raven guys very well, and they'll keep unioning.
Hope so. Phil Spencer said that Microsoft will recognize it once they finish the acquisition.
Holy shit! Could you imagine if they didn't? That would
Yeah.
It's like there goes all that good press you got.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, because having it's a good thing that they've voted for the union to become a thing, but yeah, the negotiation of that contract and what that union entails will be the next big thing. And I'm sure you said that there's no one size fits all for unions, but there's no way that this is not about to set a huge precedent on the industry.
Oh, absolutely. And they have it. They're working with. What's the name of that group that is doing the unionization? I'll look it up while I'm thinking about it. But the precedent that they're going to set is definitely going to be huge. And what's crazy is that because of it being the first time they're unionizing, and they're formulating a contracting and negotiating with Activision Blizzard now about whatever that will mean for them. Like, there's a good chance that this negotiation may still be happening by the time the acquisition's over. So they might be shifting over to Microsoft people at some point, because it just takes a lot of back and forth to get to an agreement.
Yeah, it's going to be a process. In the end, it's going to be a process that benefits both Raven and every other developer. It's just going to be a process.
That's right. They're doing it under Communication Workers of America, which is a nationwide union. So, if people are familiar with unions, there's Teamsters that exists and stuff like that. this is a similar thing where they would allow a framework nationwide. So what's good about that is to have someone like that. They will have experience in negotiating, and they will have the forethought to think, okay, this has got wider reaching effects than just our union here. It's going to be a big deal for anybody in this industry.
We should unionize.
What? Yeah, Rutledge isn't here.
You mean the TechRaptor union?
Yeah, the TechRaptor union.
With
We
number
don't
one
have
request, Rut, please stop embezzling.
Please,
Yeah.
please let us have our money.
Can freelancers be in a can freelancers be in a union? Is that a thing?
I don't think so.
I don't see why not.
Because
We just said unions have no rules, so
no, it'll be really cool to see just how massive an impact this has. I hope that that things don't get delayed due to the handover, because I could definitely imagine that being some kind of legal hurdle if an acquisition is happening at the same time that you're trying to debate rights with a company, and then suddenly you're debating with a different company.
This is the area I don't. So of us here, I've been in a union job now for 9 years, so I'm in a union. I don't know much about the formation of a union. I do know a lot about contract negotiations and how they're a massive pain in the ass. So, and this starting from the ground here, like from nothing, I'm sure it definitely is a long process to get going. But at some point in this negotiation, the people that are involved are going to be like, oh yeah, this acquisition's happening. There's going to be a discussion of what that means going forward. And because an acquisition is happening doesn't necessarily mean who they're negotiating with will change personnel-wise, because like Microsoft's buying the companies, right?
True.
So there's a chance that it won't be that big of a thing, but you can never tell.
But who knows?
Yeah,
well, hopefully more of Activision Blizzard will unionize.
Follow suit.
And
it'd be nice.
They will use their new union to throw out Bobby. That's already happening. Fuck.
Yeah, he's already leaving at some point.
He's already out.
When we get to TechRaptor episode 50, 80, 100, which will come first. Which will come first? Our discussion about how all of the union talk has gone through, or Bobby Kotick is out and sailing away on his golden parachute.
That piece of shit. Anyway, what a garbage person.
Always hated him since Moneyball.
Moneyball?
Did you not? He's in that movie.
What? Where?
Did you not know that?
No, where?
He's he plays like the owner of the baseball team, I think. Like he's in one scene.
Really?
He was like friends with the director or something, and he was like, "Can I be in Moneyball?" And the director was like, "Yeah, I guess."
Huh.
Yeah, he's there.
What the hell? This is like what was that movie? What is it? When you go back and watch it, and like Rudy Giuliani's in it, and you're like, ugh. Ugh.
Or like
that movie.
Didn't Trump get digitally edited out of Home Alone 2?
I don't know, did he? I doubt it.
I believe so.
I don't think anyone wants to touch Home Alone right now.
I mean, you didn't like whatever the new reboot
I haven't seen it, and I don't care enough. It's a kids movie. I watch adult movies like Star Wars and Morbius. There we go. I worked it in,
there
guys.
There you go. 10 minutes. It took him 10 minutes to bring up Morbius.
Man, it didn't take long. What I love about Home Alone is that Roger Ebert's favorite Home Alone was Home Alone 3.
Home Alone 3.
Yes.
That's like, oh man, okay. Indiana Jones. I love the Indiana Jones movies. Crystal Skulls, how good were they?
There you go, aliens, man.
It's like saying I love the Indiana Jones movie. I especially love the one with the tiny child that screams the entire time.
That is a good one.
Listen.
How dare you?
Listen. Indiana Jones is batting 50-50 on good movies.
What?
The first and the third one are fantastic. The second and the fourth one are better,
Hey,
though.
Temple. I'm not going to defend Temple of Doom too hard, but it's not garbage.
So are you excited for 5 then?
Harrison Ford's old.
He's very old.
He's very old.
I think the most I've heard about Harrison Ford in the past 8 years is how he keeps hurting himself on set.
Most of the time I hear about him is when he's rescuing people in his helicopter.
What?
Yeah, Harrison Ford's gonna show up on set and he's gonna be like Indiana Jones. And he's gonna be like, this belongs in a museum, and so it's gonna turn to the person.
So do you?
And he's just gonna be staring at him like, bro, you are how old? You belong in a nursing home.
I have a weird connection to Indiana Jones.
That better be the last line of Indiana Jones 5 is like someone looks at Indiana Jones and goes, "This belongs in a nursing home."
No.
But before we move on, Otten, what's your weird connection to Indiana Jones?
I'm glad you don't write movies.
Yeah, well, I might just for funsies now.
Well, it's a weird story. So my dad, you're gonna be like, this is your connection, by the way. You're not gonna be. So my dad, for a while there, he was doing a job where they would clean out houses. A lot of times, if someone had a relative that died or whatever, you have a house full of shit. Yeah. Sometimes relatives are like, we don't want to deal with it, so they'll hire people to just take care of it. And a lot of times they don't care about the shit that's in there. They're like, we don't care. Throw it away. Take what you want. We don't give a shit. Throw it away. But this time he was with the lady who owned the house. She was moving, and he was cleaning out a bunch of stuff. So he's like, they've got trash cans everywhere, and he's sweeping stuff up. And he looks down, and he sees an envelope that says Lucasfilm on the corner. Or he just sees the film part. And my dad's a massive Star Wars guy, so he knew what it was right away. And so he picked it up, and sure enough, it said Lucasfilm at the top right. Unopened letter, and he turned to the lady. She's like, "You want this?" She's like, "I don't care what that is. I don't give a shit." And my dad's like, "Can I have it?" She's like, "Yeah." So he opened it, and it was a personal letter from George Lucas to this lady who happened to be a veterinarian who was the vet for George's dog, Indiana, who Indiana Jones was named after, and the dog that he made Chewbacca after. So we have a signed personal letter, because this lady didn't want it, from George Lucas to his vet, thanking her for her service on Indiana, who had died after this letter, and he was donating something to some local organization on her behalf.
So what I'm hearing is that your dad illegally opened someone else's mail.
No, he asked her. He asked her. What I'm saying is, me and George Lucas go way back. We're basically best friends.
Yeah, you're buddies with it. It's kind of like how I'm buddies with Norman Reedus.
Mm-hmm. We're best buds.
Best buds. I guess
True
I just
story.
tell Norman Reedus story.
Yeah, any brush with fame stories, go for it. This has gone a bit off the rails, but
it's okay. The Norman Reedus story is really short.
Mom and Dad aren't home, kids are ruling.
I was at Sony's 2018 E3 press conference, the last one they did. But both of these are relevant to things that happen later. We're talking Star Wars and Sony, so we'll get there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I'm at their press conference. It's ending. Everyone's on the way out, and I realize the guy in front of me is Norman Reedus, because Death Stranding was their big game that year, one of them. And I didn't know what to do, so I kind of just awkwardly pointed at him and said, "Hey, you're Norman Reedus." And he looks at me and goes,
thing to do.
Yep. And he looks at me and he goes, "Yep." And he just keeps walking.
Like any sane person would.
Any sane human being. But you know what? That's my Norman Reedus story.
That's good. It. You were every single, millions of years of evolution. Humans have been getting smarter. Your synapses are firing. You see someone in front of you and you say, "Hey, you're that guy." Fucking idiot.
Yeah, we got more E3 stories if we want to do that.
Oh, there are so many E3 stories,
ones.
but that would require E3 to actually happen.
Wow. Yeah.
Walked a couple blocks with Jason Mewes on the phone.
The time of the year formerly known as E3.
It's upon us soon.
Yeah, we're just going to have to call it game season. I've been the one that's been throwing together E3 coverage hubs for TechRaptor since 2014, 2013, or 2014. I don't know what we're going to call it. It's just game season.
I mean, E3, I don't know. E3 still, I'm going to refer to it as E3 for a while, I think.
Just call it the time formerly known as E3.
I guess also for the that shop talk.
Hot G-Hoff summer.
Just call it Season of the Dorito Pope.
These names are getting progressively worse and worse. I agree, Sam. You should not write a movie. Otten, you also should not write a movie.
Listen.
Hey, I'd put more effort into writing a movie than this off-the-cuff shit I'm doing.
Yeah, like, someone wrote Morbius. I'm sure I can do better than Morbius.
You know what? I want you to try.
All right, I will.
You don't like vampiric dance scenes?
That part's so good. Holy shit. Matt Smith just dancing around while like they play some song that's just some dude going, have sex. And it's like, what is happening? The best part is, if you watch that YouTube, it doesn't show the scene before this where Morbius jumps in front of a train and then this lets him fly somehow.
Yeah, because he senses the wind. I don't know. Speaking of movies,
let's talk about other movies.
We've had
speaking of bad writing,
Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim this past week, and last night they showed off the first teaser trailer for Star Wars Fallen Survivor.
Hell
you could see Cal Kestis. Back again.
Off some Star Wars people, man.
He's still the only Jedi for some reason. Like, it's been 5 years later, and there has been no one else.
We know.
He's on the run.
This takes place during the same time as the Obi-Wan show, so he's obviously going to show up on the Obi-Wan show. Or Obi-Wan's going to show up in the game.
One of the two.
That's right.
I mean, either or would be fantastic. They can just
get see the show, so...
Well, they've based... Cal Kestis is based off his mocap actor, right?
Yeah, Monaghan. I forgot his first name.
Yeah, it's a guy who's actually like a really legit
He's really
actor.
Good. He's from, if you ever watched Shameless.
Gotham.
Well, also Gotham. Yeah, he was in Gotham, but he's also in Shameless.
He was like the fake Joker.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yep.
I've seen Gotham. I did not recognize him.
He was the fake Joker or something like that. I haven't actually watched Gotham. That's just where everyone told me he was from.
Which fake Joker was he? Was he Jerome?
God, that's right. They did like
Jeremy or yeah, they did.
I think it was Jeremy.
Are they all J names?
Yeah, there's
off. That's so dumb.
3 different characters. It's like, oh, this is the fake Joker, and then he dies, and then it's like, oh, here's his twin, and then he dies, and then it's like, oh, the first one got resurrected.
You know, maybe Sam could write better. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't write 3 fake Jokers in, or maybe I would. Who the fuck knows?
So what's thoughts on Fallen Survivor?
I'm super excited.
Yeah. My thought on Fallen Survivor is, why was Raiden in a tube?
That was Geralt.
Who's that?
What are you talking about?
Who's that guy? Why is he in a tube? And why does he look like the pretty boy from Final Fantasy 15?
Which pretty boy from Final Fantasy 15? There's a lot of them.
All the pretty boys.
Hey, if Gladio's in another game, I'm down.
He looks like the dude who kept taking pictures.
Prompto.
Really? This guy had long hair. This guy had like Sephiroth hair in the tank. He had like long.
All right, well, that's just a different
hair.
Final Fantasy pretty boy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited. Like Fallen Order was really good. Like you could tell that it was really setting up the like basics of the game. And so now that they've got the baseline set up, I'm assuming a somewhat bigger budget of some kind to make something a little more.
And the next gen consoles.
Yeah, and it's next gen. Current
next
gen only.
Well, current gen now. Yeah, true.
Current gen only. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah,
it was really good. It's the best Star Wars thing to come out since Rogue One. I don't know.
It's not like
not stiff competition. But
yeah, really. I'm excited. Fallen Order was good because it was good. It was good because it was good. Do I need to explain why it was good? Is that my job at TechRaptor? Maybe, but
it's your job to edit the people who say this game is good.
Yes. It's
really great to see like the difference between what is your first draft, which is this, I'm assuming, and what we get. You do a lot of work.
we're going to finish doing this podcast, and then Sam's going to re-listen to all of his lines, and then we're just going to
re-record them,
ADR them back in.
ADR them very poorly, though, purposefully.
I'm excited to see.
In fact, you know what? I'll just re-record Stretch and Andrew too, so don't worry about it.
Good.
Get my voice acting chops in.
That'd be horrendous.
Yeah. I mean, we get to see more BD1, and thank Stretch for linking me the BD1 Lego. I would have found out about it eventually anyway. I've already pre-ordered it. We talked about Lego a few weeks ago.
Is there a BD1
There's
Lego?
a BD1 Lego set that looks
It's like a 1-to-1 scale as well.
I love that. That's great.
It
comes out in August.
Choice.
Down.
Yeah, I kind of want that now.
It's good. It looks great.
I can find you the link for it as well.
Yes, it is
Thank
good
you.
stuff.
Speaking of BD1, funny enough, I just finished Titanfall 2 again. I thought it'd be fun to replay. And it's just the same character with a different voice. Not at all, but, you know.
It's that same kind of, like, cute robot companion.
Yeah, except, you know, it's a giant robot companion.
Wasn't that what they named him, BD?
Prime. Yeah, he's named after the Titanfall one. But, definitely, the Titanfall 2's got a giant robot companion voiced by Optimus Prime. He's also cute.
There you go. That's what Respawn's known for now, I guess. That's what they do.
Yeah. Which, good for them. It's good they found their niche.
Yeah. You know,
is there any... are there any, like, specific cameos or locations that you want them to touch for this sequel? Or do you reckon it would be better to just stay so separate from the rest of the continuity?
My guess is...
Well, they already got the Inquisitor. Yeah, I can word, for real. They already got the Grand Inquisitor from, you know, Rebels and Obi-Wan, so...
And we, like, kill a couple of the Inquisitors in the game. Well, we kill one, anyway.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, like, how impactful that Darth Vader scene was.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was just about to ask, like, how are they going to live up to that? Not necessarily live up to, but how are they going to get another moment that's like that? Because you see him and you're like, oh, fuck. I love the games like, don't even bother try fighting him. Get the fuck out.
Run.
Yeah.
Just run.
that is great. It's such a great moment in that game. But I don't know how you can possibly, like, unless they're like, hey, Darth Vader again, bitches. Like, well, I'd actually be fine with that.
The reason the Darth Vader scene worked so well in the original game is also because they didn't fucking tell you about it.
I had no idea it was coming. Yeah.
You did not know it was coming. You did not know they were going to do that. It's not in any of the ads except for the very last trailer they put out, like, after the game launched, which was a big fuck up.
So stupid. It was such a great surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars is also known for spoiling things in trailers, so...
No. Never.
Yeah, the teaser trailer, finding that guy in the tank is actually the last scene of Survivor.
Hey, maybe they're bringing back the guy from Force Unleashed.
That's what some people were saying.
Star Killer? Death Killer?
Star Killer.
It was, I mean, he had a real name, but if you ask me what his real name is, I don't know it. He was Star Killer, yeah.
Okay.
And I only remember he was Star Killer because of Soul Calibur, so...
Well, because they had him as Star Killer, and then they have the Star Killer base in the movies as well.
Force Awakens,
so it's like, just really...
Oh, shit, that's right. Maybe it's Siegfried from Soul Calibur, and this is the other half of the Soul Calibur 4 crossover.
There we go. Finally, they're making good on it. Finally.
There we go.
And then Ezio Auditore and Link and Spawn show up.
There we go. We're making a good video game now.
I would not be surprised, though, to see the Survivor tie into the movies or TV shows in some way. Because, like, I know that there's been lots of stuff put out about how Lucasfilm feels about like Jedi stories in particular, and they're like very protective of them. So, like, having Cal Kestis out there as a Jedi, like, that's a big deal to them. And that the fact that the guy that playing him is a pretty good actor, there's no fucking way we're not going to see him in live action somewhere. So there's got to be some time.
Especially considering it's taking place at the same time as Obi-Wan, I would not be surprised if
there's going to be something
in it. Yeah. Maybe I should probably actually watch the Obi-Wan show.
Where in the continuity is, like, Ahsoka and Mandalorian happening? Is that also between 3 and 4?
I think Mandalorian happens before. Yeah, they're between 3 and 4.
Okay. So, I mean, technically they're all happening at the same time, right?
No, wait. Mandalorian's between
after,
6 and 7.
After 6. Yeah, Mandalorian's after 6.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's way further ahead.
4, 5, 6.
I think that's where Ahsoka, the show, is going to be.
Yeah, and
too.
Ahsoka's also around that time. Yeah, Mandalorian time.
Yeah, I mean, she was also in the Clone Wars, so she could really be anywhere. But I think the show they're making is between 6 and 7.
Yeah,
yeah, because like Ahsoka's off, like technically around Episode 2, but then where we see her in Mandalorian is after 7, so that's like 20 years later.
Can we talk about what a redemption arc she's had among the fans? Remember when they first introduced her and she was fucking annoying, and all anyone knew her as was the guy, or was the lady who ran around screaming, "Sky Guy, let's do things."
I never watched any of those animated movies and stuff, so I had like tangential knowledge to her, and I was like, oh, I guess this person is, Anakin's apprentice, even though he's not really a master. What's going on there?
Yeah, when they introduced her it was originally in an animated movie and then later in the show, she was the worst. She was like actively the worst.
I've seen a fair amount. I haven't watched all of Clone Wars. She wasn't the worst. She was just a kid.
Well, kids are the worst, so, like, I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, but Star Wars fans are a bunch of fucking crybabies anyway, so.
They are, yeah. But,
well, there goes the ratings. Thanks, guys.
No.
You've tanked us.
Oh, no.
Let me see.
Right,
Capital G gamers and Star Wars fans. That Venn diagram is almost a perfect fucking circle.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, as long as we've already tanked the ratings, The Last Jedi was really good. All right, we're good.
Ah, Sam, thank you. Yes, The Last Jedi of this sequel trilogy was the best one, yes.
Yes. I'd kill for a full...
If Ryan Johnson was doing a full trilogy, I am there with you all the way.
Yeah, I'd kill for it. I think his trilogy got delayed. But
well, it might not be happening now because he's doing Knives Out and stuff, which I'm cool with also because to be fair, Benoit Blanc is amazing. We're just going to make this movie podcast. Fuck talking about games.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Knives Out was fantastic. I'm all for Ryan Johnson doing more Knives Out.
There we go. But only if Daniel Craig comes back and does a funny Southern accent again.
Oh, no, but the funny thing is I hope he does a different bad accent in every one.
This time he does a bad Russian accent.
Well, like it's in like Greece or something. The second one, isn't it? Something like that. So I want to do something crazy.
In it.
I don't know. Anyway, Fallen Survivor looks real cool. Or Survivor. Is it Fallen Survivor or just Survivor?
It's Fallen Survivor.
Fallen Survivor.
Fallen Survivor. Does that mean that if you're a Fallen Survivor, aren't you just fucking dead? You're not a survivor? And that doesn't make sense. Anyway,
I guess it's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Survivor.
Whew.
Star Wars Jedi, help, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Star Wars Old Jedi Need Life Alert.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker's just sitting alone on that island he's on with Life Alert. It calls the little gremlin people that he lives with for some reason.
They're the like caretakers or whatever. I can't remember their names.
It was something dumb.
They're
and
the
porgs.
Interesting people.
Yeah,
and
the porgs.
I wish Chewbacca ate more of them.
So next on our list to discuss is just this morning, I believe, Digital Foundry came out. They've had a chance to check out the PlayStation Plus classic games, specifically the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Oh, I guess also a single PSP title. And the results are not that fantastic. From what they said, they had access to the Asian market library, but the games were hit or miss. The majority of them were 50 hertz refresh. Some of them were 60 hertz. This used to be something that was, important back in the day for how our TVs would get power and like how many times their screen would update. Now it's not really an issue. But what this means, like with the issues with the Nintendo Switch, having the 50 hertz versions working with a screen refresh rate of 60 hertz, it means that a lot of the games that they're having are either not running at full 30 frames per second, or stuttering, or there's weird gaps in the frames, just leading to a questionable experience. So this is now the first time that we've heard reports of what it feels like to be playing these retro games, and it is not looking promising so far.
Yeah, and it sounds like for maybe your average person that's just like, I'm going to play this game, like, you're still going to be able to play them. It's just not going to be an amazing experience, probably. There's going to be noticeable times you're like, why does this feel bad? More than likely. But it's so shitty when this is the premium thing, and it's supposedly one of the big draws for getting on this expensive subscription, is you're going to have access to this crazy library, and if it seems that they just run, if they run this poorly, you're better off playing them elsewhere.
So my hope is that it'll be fixed up before it hits America, but not.
Isn't that soon? Isn't that like next month?
Yeah, it's
in a week or so.
Yeah, it's
like halfway through next month, I think.
But I doubt it.
I feel like I could look the date up, but I don't feel like it.
There is potential, because like PAL is selected as a region a lot of times, because PAL games are either PAL 3 or PAL 5, depending on how many languages they support.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're trying to roll out, a game in a service and try to have it be as universally accessible as possible, having the PAL versions does give you the benefit of built-in English, Spanish, French, German, Italian is normally the 5 in PAL 5. But when it means that, then every single game is also going to take a speed hit and a quality hit, you got to weigh up your options there, and it's kind of worrying. It'll be interesting to see whether those NTSC versions will be what comes to the American version of the service. I'm not hopeful, though.
Yeah, it'd be... I don't know, it just seems like extra work they wouldn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I doubt it. And I think that's kind of... I doubt it, too, because Digital Foundry's confident coming out saying... They're not really hedging it. Like, oh, maybe if this version comes out, it's like, no, these are just bad.
Yeah, I want it to be good. I hope it's good. But, realistically, I'm not expecting much.
Yeah, it's just such a bummer.
Yeah, it's a real shame to have to come into it so, previously defeated already.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I'm looking at it this way too. I subscribed to Game Pass for a while, and what would happen is I would turn on Game Pass and I would look at all the games, and then I would go, I don't know what to play, and then I would turn off Game Pass and not play anything. So this just saves me another subscription that I wouldn't use.
Yeah, it's definitely
it turns out I have a massive backlog of games I haven't played, so I can do this for free. I can just turn my Steam account on and go, I don't know what I want to play.
There you go.
And then play nothing.
So if you're already going to have choice paralysis and play nothing, you might as well also not be paying extra to play nothing.
Exactly. I do hope they fix it up, but at the same time, I don't know how many PlayStation games PlayStation's a little weird, the original one, because it's that era of like first 3D where most of the games were not very good, but they were 3D, so you kind of ignored it.
Yeah.
Because that was like a big deal at the time. Like, Super Mario 64 did it right, but then you try to play like Croc, where it's like, we want to be a 3D platformer with tank controls.
Yeah.
A lot of those.
Do you really want to play Croc again? The answer is yes, by the way. You do want to play Croc again, but... If they add trophy support to Croc, maybe.
Oh, Lord.
Well, we've now seen the leaked trophy list of some of the games as well, and I know that I brought this up in our company Slack. That a lot of those those trophies are pretty bare bones.
I think Sony's putting minimal effort in. Well, like one of the games with Intelligent Cube, which I think a grand total of me and nobody else has ever played. So I don't know why they keep putting it in there. And every time they do a classic thing, it always includes Intelligent Cube for some reason. But anyway, the game is literally like 5 levels long, and all you do is remove blocks. And that's really it. So I don't know what you can do trophy-wise for that one, besides the complete 5 levels and perfect 5 levels thing. But some of the game, like Siphon Filter and Wild Arms, their trophies were fine. But also that means playing rip-off Metal Gear and whatever Wild Arms is.
Yeah.
Listen, Siphon Filter had one thing going for it that Metal Gear didn't have, and that was that you could tase someone so hard they lit on fire.
That's a pretty good thing to have going for you, though.
To be fair, yes.
Pretty good.
Remember how Sony bought the Siphon Filter guys because they were so fucking impressed by Bubsy 3D that they bought the studio immediately?
That's the reason, huh?
That's not even a joke. Their first game before Siphon Filter was Bubsy 3D. And Sony was like, oh my god, this is so good, we need to buy these guys.
Maybe it was like a mercy kill thing. Like, we don't want them to make another of these, so let's buy them and put them on literally anything else.
Make them do something else.
Sony's like, oh no, if we need to save the industry now before Bubsy kills it.
Yeah, Sony very well known for their benevolent moves.
Listen, they used all their benevolence on trying to make sure another Bubsy game didn't happen.
They use it all up on Bubsy, and so they're just spent. Sorry, guys.
And let's be fair, they never made another Bubsy game.
Yeah, that's right. There wasn't one that recently came out at all.
They never released 2 more Bubsy games for some reason.
Yeah, it's just with like we had talked about before, the library for the PlayStation games is so vast. These old ones, for PS1, 2, and PSP games. And they're doing PS3 games also with this, right? So
that's
a lot of good games.
Yeah.
So it just
the PS3
sucks.
is just through the same streaming.
Yeah, it just sucks that it's with those older ones that it's the emulation's not that great.
I'm waiting for those like weird eclectic deep cuts, like Kingsley's Adventure or Jinx.
So do you think that
you mean like all that releases on Nintendo service now? What was the recent batch of Nintendo game? It was literally like,
well, they just dropped Earthbound.
There you go.
That's pretty
good.
Oh, and also Kirby 64.
I think the recent batch was like, it was something like Boinko's Monkey Adventure or something. I don't know. It was Pinball on the NES too, and like Boinko's Monkey Adventure on the SNES.
Mario Golf on the
This
N64.
makes an interesting point an interesting topic for the emulation debate. As we were kind of talking about before we started recording, of if you own it, largely people say you're good to emulate it. Like there's no real moral problem doing that or anything. What if I own or I'm subscribed to the subscription service for that, and that game is included in that subscription service, but I don't want to use the service?
I feel like
the
that's a
bad.
loophole.
Yeah, that would probably be a no. They would probably very easily be able to say no because you don't own it. You're just paying a subscription for temporary access.
Why can't I then emulate it myself?
What is the worst that Sony and or Nintendo can do?
Well, I mean, the emulation debate's never like a problem of like Sony's gonna get you if you emulate. It's like it's always this moral debate or ethical debate. Because if you want to emulate, fucking more power to you. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care. But there's always that this weird debate with emulation of is it good or should we do it only if we own it, etc. Blah blah. Or what if it's a game you can't get anywhere anymore? Am I okay to emulate that? So there's all kinds of weird questions people bring up, and I just was curious how this would fit in.
My stance on emulation is that I have too many games to play. I load up the emulator, I stare at all the games, I go, oh no.
Yeah.
It's becoming a problem.
Sam actually hasn't played a video game in 4 years. He just likes looking at box art.
I just stare at the box art and then write the review based on that. That's no one's caught on yet, and I'm hoping they won't.
He just goes and
don't tell Rutledge, please.
Loiters at GameStop.
I walk into a GameStop and they're like, "Oh God, it's that fucking guy again."
Well, he bases it around the little reviews they put below the games at GameStop that the employees write. Good, perfect.
Do they still do that?
I think some places do. I don't know.
That was like my favorite stupid thing.
Interprets 3 box quotes and turns them into a 600-word review. Amazing. So,
good at my job. What can I say?
Speaking of games we have been playing, Otten, what's been on your screen?
So I'm well known for playing up-to-date video games on the podcast. I play only the latest. But last year I started playing through the Yakuza series, and I played through 0, and then Kiwami 1, and now I'm on 2. And like they're just great. I don't know. There's one thing I don't like about them, and a lot of times that's the combat. I think the combat in most Yakuza fucking sucks. That I've played. I have not played them all. That's why I'm looking forward to what's it, Like a Dragon, because it's a turn-based thing. I think that's a lot more interesting than not that great beat 'em up stuff. But one of the things that's great about Kiwami 2 is that it's actually pretty good at it. It's the best one anyway that I've played so far, and I think that's because it's like the most modern one.
Recent. Yeah.
I don't know how it is with the Yakuza 6 if it's similar to that, but it's definitely makes it a lot more tolerable because they're long games, and like granted it's long because there's a lot of weird cutscenes, and that's kind of that's what you play it for, is to get to the next what the fuck cutscene thing or quest. Like, what am I doing? But I think all these games now are on Game Pass. Even I think all the Yakuza is.
They've been like alternating, going in and out.
But anyway,
so I wouldn't be able to say what
is.
But
they're such a. I'm sure anybody that's been around games a little bit has definitely seen some kind of out of context clip of some gameplay or some cutscene from Yakuza, and it's like it doesn't make.
We've all seen the song.
It doesn't make more sense in context, to be honest. When you play the games, but that's what's so great about them is that they toe the line between like this. There's actually like a really serious storyline plot thread throughout this on a lot of them, but also just insanity going on at the same time. And it's such a tone that nothing else really nails. That it's I'm so glad that they exist. I have not played Judgment or anything yet, which is my understanding they're a little more serious, but it's just good stuff. And as we were saying before the podcast, Kiryu is just a better Batman. I now realize
he is.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain how we got to Batman. You can't just say that and then move on.
He's his parents are dead or whatever. He beats people up at night. Although later he's also around during the day in other ones, but and
he's rich.
And he gets some games he's rich. I don't know about other ones. It seems like he constantly loses his wealth somehow.
He's just not. He keeps putting all of his money into crypto. It's like a crippling addiction between the games
crypto,
as he buys a bunch of NFTs.
Poor Kiryu.
God, I can imagine NFTs being like the next collectible in a video game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's he just keeps putting all his money in crypto and giving big speeches about how this time it's really going to work out. And even Majimo's just like, bro, even I'm not that crazy.
Yeah. Poor Kiryu.
Sam.
Wait, before, real quick, Yakuza.
Yes.
Do you know how to upset a Yakuza fan really badly?
Oh, go ahead.
How do you get them to speak in English? Where's the English voice option at? Oh, God.
Get out of here.
I've played 0.
Yeah.
And my favorite part of 0 is they make a very big deal about how Kiryu can't kill people.
Yes.
And then you have like a highway chase where Kiryu pulls out a revolver and shoots down a helicopter and guns down a bunch of people.
It's the same with
they parachuted to safety off screen.
Yeah, it's like Batman and Spider-Man, where Spider-Man like breaks someone in half. Basically, it's like, oh yeah, that guy's totally fucking dead, but we're gonna move on from that.
It's the college humor of Batman. He's just all tuckered out.
Yeah,
They get tuckered out while fighting me.
They do in the newest Spider-Man games. Like, you kick someone off a building.
That's right. He will
and
web
he'll
it.
like automatically shoot out a bit of web to hang them by the side of the building.
Which is a nice touch. I appreciate
their
it.
body is bent in half and their spine is snapped.
They've been kicked in the skull so hard they've gone flying 20 feet.
Yeah.
But hey, at least they're safe in some web.
At least they didn't fall to their death so they could die quickly. Now they're just slowly writhing in pain on the side of a building.
There's literally a Spider-Man comic about how Doc Ock has brain damage because Spider-Man's just punched him in the head so many times. That's not a joke. Like, that's an actual comic that exists.
I could see why someone would be like, you know what? That's probably a thing.
He's been punched in the head a lot. And they're like, yeah, it turns out Doc Ock's just some normal dude with tentacles on his back. When a Superman punches a normal dude in the head, it gives him brain damage. And Spider's like, oh, I had no clue. It's like, bro, you're really strong. What did you think happened?
Maybe that's why we've still never gotten a decent Superman game. They just haven't figured out quite how to allow Superman to punch anyone and it not just like immediately cripple them internally.
You just put him in a simulation.
That's right.
Obviously.
It's all in his mind.
That's never been done before. He has never once been in a simulation before.
Superman in Cyber Chase.
That's
Superman with Scooby-Doo.
That's the plot of Superman 64, by the way.
I know.
Well, you know what? The listener may not know. I'm assuming our audience is dumb.
Superman 64, it's a classic. You guys should all play it.
Yeah, definitely. That should be on Sony's service.
That's right, that Nintendo game.
That game can't run any worse.
You just play it on easy mode. On easy mode, they get rid of the rings.
That's funny.
What an absolute shit show of a game. So, Sam, what have you been playing this week when you're not just looking at box art?
That's right.
When I'm not just looking at box art, I've been double dipping in the world of Vampire the Masquerade. I've been alternating between Bloodhunt and Swansong, which are two very, very different games.
Yeah.
Because Bloodhunt's it's a battle royale. Everyone's a vampire, they all get machine guns, and they go shoot each other. And then Swansong is, like, it's a narrative game where you have to investigate this party that everyone is killed at. And you talk to people and you solve puzzles, and levels have like multiple endings depending on how you do in them, and you get into arguments, and like there's no combat. The combat, in quotes, finger quotes that you can't see here, are you have these arguments and you roll dice and you try to do persuasion checks or intimidation checks and stuff. They're two very different games. One of them is more lore accurate than the other. But the problem is, it turns out being lore accurate isn't fun. Because Bloodhunt is a lot of fun. It makes no sense in the lore at all. I say this like I know anything about Vampire the Masquerade lore. It's really dumb. Like, yeah, we're the vampire hidden society. Here's machine guns. Go shoot each other all over Paris. It makes no sense. But God, is it fun. And then Swansong is like, we're the boring vampires. Here's vampire politics.
That's what
we're going to drop 15 proper nouns now. And if you don't know what this proper noun means, I guess you can go read the codex. Good luck with that.
It makes me think of trying to like decipher all of like the weird in-universe politics of the Twilight movies. And it's just like, just let the wolves and the vampires fucking fight.
Just let the wolves and the vampires fucking fuck. It's like you'll enter a scene and someone will be like, it is my kindred that I have blood bound to the Nosferatu Pact or whatever. And it's like, what did any of those fucking words mean?
That just sounds like, I mean, if I was to hear that, I would just assume that means that this person sired another vampire.
Yeah, that's not... A kindred is not a sire. Someone who sires a vampire, that's a child. With an E, though. It has an E because it's proper.
Chill day.
And my big takeaway from these two the Vampire the Masquerade games is, remember that time where I had to interview the vampire guy and he just looked at me and said no?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you did. I do.
Yeah, of course I did. Well,
you're not
look at these games and say
you're
no.
not telling this story well enough.
All right.
Yeah,
I went to
once again story time. Let's go.
It's E3 story time again. I went to the PC gaming show. I was supposed to review the Chop Chop Conan guys, but they left early because they didn't want to watch the PC gaming show, and honestly, they made the right decision. And they offered me a backup interview, and they were like, well, let's see who we have. And they looked around a bit, and they found the, I don't remember his name, but it's the dude who was writing the story for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, who got fired recently. And it was the guy who had the fingerless gloves and the long hair. I don't remember his name. And so they were like, hey, would you like to interview him? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And so the lady goes over to talk to him. And he looks at me. He takes one look at me. He goes, no, and then just leaves. I'm like, all right, man. I don't know what I did to deserve that.
So good. One look at you and it's like,
very
ugh.
unfortunate. I'm deeply scarred by this. I'm really not, but maybe if I remember his name, I can make fun of him properly.
He was a writer. He wasn't PR.
Yeah, he was a writer. Like, I get that entirely. Also, like, he was wearing fingerless gloves and had super long hair. I think he had like a Matrix trench coat.
I mean,
like,
we don't need to rag on the guy, but it's like, if you're writing a Vampire the Masquerade game, that's kind of what I would expect.
He looks like a human that would write a Vampire the Masquerade game.
Looks like a vampire that would write a human the Masquerade
He definitely
game.
had the vibe of like, that was his shit that he liked.
You just didn't understand him as he like flicked his hair over one eye.
And my other big takeaway from Vampire the Masquerade is, God, Morbius should be in those games. Vampire the Morbscarade. Come on, it's just writes itself.
So are vampires back? Is that what's happened? Vampires
Did they
are
ever
now
leave?
back.
Yeah. I wish they would.
So do I.
Well, because we've got that new like kind of vampiric game coming from Xbox that just got delayed. What, Red something?
Redfall?
Redfall, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the Bethesda Arcane one.
Yeah, Redfall, which is kind of vampire-y. People are unironically and ironically going crazy for Morbius. We've had these vampire games. It's just like it feels like it's keyed into the psyche at the moment.
It is really all Morbius's fault, I think. Some people have just been watching the 24-hour Twitch Morbius stream.
Is that stream still going?
To just get. I think they finally shut it down.
Oh, what a shame.
Which is a shame, because the only real way to watch Morbius is with an audience that keeps screaming, "I'm morbing out." Like, every scene from this movie, I feel like I could describe it, and you guys would think I'm joking, and I'd have to explain that, no, this is a thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of describing the scenes, just listening to that song by 3 Days Grace, what's the one? What if she sees the animal that I've become?
Oh, gross.
Yeah, just listen to that song, but mentally replace the word animal with, if you could see the darker side of me and see the Morbius that I've become. That's basically the movie. And then just picture that song while Matt Smith dances. He dances a lot in that movie. I know we've all seen that one scene, but he dances a lot in that movie.
No, I've seen the full movie. I watched it a week ago or so for fun.
He dances a lot, doesn't he?
He does. It is very strange, but also it's really the mannerisms of Matt Smith in this are like so in line with him as the Doctor, who he also danced a lot as the Doctor. It was really hard to separate the two.
Do you think Matt Smith might just actually be a vampire or a doctor?
Or
like Dr. Michael Morbius, who's both a doctor and a vampire.
Oh, God.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Please talk about your game. I want to stop talking about Morbius now.
So, I mean, for an update for me was that after, I think, a few weeks ago, talking about, playing Eiyuden Chronicles and getting a few hours into it, I was kind of enjoying it. Wasn't really sure I was going to see what more would come about it. So I've since 100% completed the game, maxed out characters, max stats, fully rebuilt the town and everything.
Why?
And that is a fantastic podcast game. I've been catching up on different podcasts and TV shows and stuff. So
do you listen to your own podcast while playing the game?
Oh, that's the only thing that I listen to.
Yeah, he consumes no other media.
Hear my own voice. Yeah,
that makes sense.
As you were talking about how you were planning on ADRing Andrew's and my lines. I do that weekly anyway, just completely Andrew stretchify the podcast, and then that's all I can say.
Speaking of, before we did this, because Rutledge and Scrappy are gone, Robert are gone this week, I wanted to get another Andrew on the podcast and only talk about Andrew-related projects with people named Andrew in it somewhere. Didn't work out. Someday, Andrew podcast.
I'm not even sure
we probably should have maybe not gone a full hour without realizing the other two are gone.
Who cares? We don't care about that.
It's true. Don't worry about it.
Let's not worry about it. It's really tragic, actually. And Stretch's family has to write the script out for everything, and then hand him the script and let him record it, and then edit it onto all the media he consumes.
It takes a long time. It's kind of like, you remember that cold open that the Simpsons did of them making the episode? It's like that.
Hey, let me tell you, you have not watched Morbius until you've heard Morbius with me ADRing every single voice. Bringing it back around.
Oh, yeah.
So Eiyuden Chronicles, it's a fun little game. I was honestly surprised for it to be like a prequel-esque game, and to be like the prelude to what will be the larger Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. It was still like a 20-hour game by the end of it, and I had a blast, and it was cool. And if you want something idle to just kind of button smash and a whole bunch of little side quests, I would honestly recommend it.
All right, so it's the prequel to this game, right?
Yeah.
But it plays completely differently?
Yes. So
why?
It's a great question. Next question.
Yes, the guy who developed
I think that it's just meant to be.
Let me ask you, why did you do this?
So, I think the full 100 Heroes game, it was also like made by a completely different company, so it just might have been like, more their wheelhouse. But I know that the final game is going to be like a full-on JRPG where you can actually recruit 100 different playable characters to have in your party.
I suppose like Suikoden spiritual successor, right?
Yeah, which
is that
I think
how you pronounce that?
Suikoden?
How did you think it was pronounced?
Suikoden.
No, not as fun.
Hey, the boxing kangaroo.
I don't.
How do you pronounce his name?
It's spelled K-A-O. How would you pronounce that?
Oh, like the recent one. I would call it cow.
Yeah. See, he thinks we're the assholes.
KO.
Yeah, we get it.
It's a boxing kangaroo knockout. KO the kangaroo.
KO the kangaroo.
Yeah, but there's an A in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's silent.
Okay, and we're supposed to have just assumed that reading it.
This is like when I discovered in Dynasty Warriors they've been calling him Cow Cow the entire series, and it's really Cao Cao.
Yeah, it's Cao Cao. I will never not think of him as Cow Cow though.
I will always call him. The best part is like all the voice actors called him Cow Cow, and then they finally got voice actors that don't pronounce the names wrong. And then in 9, they went back to calling him Cow Cow for some reason.
Perfect. It's the perfect video game series.
Yeah. It's the perfect... Dynasty Warriors 4 is a great game.
The greatest game.
It's a really great game.
Greatest.
And anyone who says any different, speak now or forever hold your peace.
That's right. It is better than Elex 2.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I guess that's it.
The greatest game ever
Wait,
made.
I got this. I got this. If Elix is good, say something. Get fucked, we're out dabbing on you.
Sam's just dabbing.
God, I could hear your mic muffle as you put your face into your arm.
We can hear the dab.
This is an audio podcast. You're not even on camera as we're recording this, and I could hear you dabbing. Fuck. Dab.
He did it again.
I hate it.
He can't keep getting away with it.
So
you can't keep getting away with this.
On that note, thank you very much, everyone, for listening to this extremely chaotic episode of the TechRaptor podcast.
I'll never be invited back.
If you want to check out some of the stories that we spoke about or the rest of what has been going on in gaming and tabletop news, previews, reviews, features, go ahead and check us out at techraptor.net. Until then, well, be sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe on your platform of preference. And until next week, have a good week.